Happy Halloween, everyone. Yabba dabba doo. Greetings from the Loyal Order of the Water Buffalo. On this scary evening, I am going to give you a little haul of scary comic books. I hope you won't wet your pants or anything. But anyway, I've got a stack of comics I want to show you. I'm going to do it the Sleepy Reader way, so I'm going to show you the comics and crack them open and take a little peek. It'll For most of these, it'll be the first time I've taken a look inside. I've been doing a lot of comic book hunting over the past month, and these are all the scary books that came out of that. I Some from local shops around here, some from mycomicshop.com, and some from a weird little comic shop in Deep River, Connecticut. Higgy Pop will know what I'm talking about if he is here. I have to apologize to my Connecticut comic book friends. I zipped in for 3 days to visit my mom. I didn't really have time to set up anything, to schedule things with other people. My niece was there, and I had an old high school friend to visit, and so that kind of filled up the weekend. But I hope to be back in Connecticut. Anyway, that's nothing to do with Halloween. Here at the Loyal Order of the Water Buffaloes, we just want to look at scary comics. So, yeah, let me get myself together a little bit. You can see here I included this Batman, which I think is kind of a scary looking comic. Let's see. Can I enlarge this even more? There we go. And I can make myself smaller. Yeah. There we go. And Wilma enjoys seeing these comics too. And let me adjust. This is very sophisticated the way I do this. I thought I had it all set up in advance, but I think I can go like that. I wanted to see Great Gazoo in the picture. Oh well. Anyway, a lot of Batman comics from the late 70s were very gothic, often with Neal Adams. Neal Adams leading the way. We have a nice ghost here. So let's take a peek inside this Batman and Robin from, I'm guessing from 1971, because this is the 25-cent, 48 pages era, which is when I started reading comics. Inside we've got a story by Frank Robbins, not Denny O'Neil. I think people forget Frank Robbins wrote a lot of these great Batman stories from this era too. And it's Irv Novick art. As a kid, I was always disappointed when it was not Neal Adams, although Irv Novick actually does a fine job. Oh, there's Denny O'Neil, best writer for his Green Lantern, Batman, and Superman work. Anyway, this looks cool. Let's see. I bet there's a Robin backup. Robin had been kicked to the curb, sent off to college, and he didn't get to hang out with Batman anymore. And this is Irv Novick also. Dick Giordano inks Mike Friedrich, who must have been quite young at the time, doing the writing chores. Yeah. So there is that. I just have the one Batman. But more Neal Adams. I think this was a double dip, but the price was so good. And it seemed like it was in nice condition. Well, I haven't even looked inside. Look at that. Not as nice as I thought, but still pretty for me. For what I get in older comics, it's nice. Is that a Bernie Wrightson beginning? I like the way the panels are done there. The fun thing about these House of Mysteries is it's, like I often say, it's like opening up a box of candies. I never quite know what I'm going to get. I don't see an art credit. Now it doesn't look like Bernie Wrightson there to me. It almost has a Wally Wood aspect to it. I've got to make sure I'm in the camera when I'm pointing at. I've got the comic in the camera. We got, I wish there was, well, I can probably look it up and find out, but Sergio Aragonés, He Doomed the World. That also has a little bit of a Wally. I'm not sure if that's probably not Wally Wood. but it almost looks Jack Kirby-ish too. It almost looks like Jack Kirby inked by Wally Wood or something. But then that looks like Steve Ditko. I don't know, puzzling. I'll look at a few more. Sorry, we have no more DC Comics. I remember visiting New York and there were these kinds of magazine stands. I don't know if other cities had them. Certainly not the towns that I lived in around Connecticut. Rich Buckler art. Rich Buckler's such a chameleon. I wouldn't know that was Rich Buckler. And Bob Oskiner art. Okay, moving along. You'll note I've taken the tape off of all of these bags already. Adventure Comics. I thought this is kind of a spooky. Look at that! Look at that small movie camera he's got. Kind of a spooky cover. I don't know if this is. Oh no, it looks like original work. Is that Nestor Redondo artwork? Jim Aparo. What was I thinking? So very nice. You know, I can expand this a little bit. Cover up some more of the Flintstones. Sorry about that, Flintstones people. Yeah, what else have we got? The Vigilante. I assume that's not the Vigilante. The Slaying Town. No credits. Oh, it is the Vigilante. Could it be a first appearance? I don't know. I don't care. Is that Alex Nino's signature? I can't really. It looks like it says Alex. I don't know what that says. Story by Steve Cates. I like when they list the artist first because I think that is appropriate and should be the way comics are done. I think it's the way comics are credited in Europe. I don't know if that's Alex Nino art. I think it's someone else. And this is this Captain Blood? Was he kind of a continuing character? Captain Fear. Sorry, Captain Fear. Okay, cool. I need to check my CLZ. I wonder how many other adventure comics I've got. It was only briefly, I think, adventure like that. Then it became the Legion of Superheroes and Supergirl. My only Charlton here in this pile, Ghostly Haunts. When I say Charlton, I picture Higgy Pop doing a dance. But this looks cool. I don't know that artist. Who have we got here? We got a signature I can't make out. One thing that some Charlton lacks is good lettering. Steve Ditko. The lettering's a little better here. At least I assume this Steve Ditko's not signed, but it looks so Ditko to me. And I don't know if this is already in the Charlton reprint era. It says all new. So can we believe it? I love that cover there. Love the green. Okay, some Marvel. World's Unknown #1. This, I believe, was a... that is scary. I do not want to wake up and find that next to me in bed. I believe that this was where they adopted famous science fiction stories from the 40s and 50s. So which... Let's see. Adopted from the story by Frederik Pohl, The Day After the Day the Martians Came. Good old Frederik Pohl. I used to be a huge Frederik Pohl fan, although his work is all over the place in terms of what he writes about. But Nightmare at Noon. A. Torres. First I was thinking this is this is one of the most astonishing stories you've ever read, so it almost makes me wonder if it was adapted from a story from Astonishing Tales. But Gil Kane script and art. That's interesting. Mike Esposito. He That Hath Wings. Adapted from... It doesn't say the name of the author. It's adapted from a story from popular fiction. That's weird. Okay. Always exciting to just discover some Gil Kane artwork that I had no idea existed. And also the thought of Gil Kane as a writer. it's weird. Some writers, like Frank Miller, know how to. Some artists who become writers know how to limit themselves verbally. A lot of writers just go. A lot of artists just go crazy when they become the writer too, with too much writing. Oh, this looks cool. I'm gonna have to research more where the stories that are not credited to the original author came from. Here's another Worlds Unknown. This one I must have got in Connecticut. Love this cover. Black Destroyer. Is that the name of the original short story? It's A.E. Van Vogt. I was a huge A.E. Van Vogt fan as a kid. And this was part of what eventually became his fix-up novel called The Voyage of the Space Beagle. And all of this work was hugely influential on things like Star Trek and Aliens and the like. I guess the original story was called Black Destroyer. Dan Adkins and Jim Mooney art. Very interesting Roy Thomas script. This was a scary, scary story for me when I read it as a kid. Imagine just being I really like the job that Dan Adkins and Jim Mooney are doing here. Just imagine being out in space, the first explorers, and encountering an alien creature and trying to figure out exactly what's up with it. And of course, this one is an apex predator, as it turns out. Not surprising given the way it looks. But that was a very cool story. When I reread A. Van Vogt, his writing is pretty darn crude, but there's something powerful about it and his imagination, going way back to the 40s. He was a Canadian, for those Canadians out there. A. Van Vogt, one of the major shapers of science fiction in the Golden Age. Ghosts, number 3, again from the 48-page era, which is sort of a collecting sweet spot for me. Got some Tony DeZuniga, or Dezunia, I don't know. Doesn't really look like what I associate with Tony. Maybe his art style changed over time. This looks more like is it a reprint? I don't know. No credits there. For sheer suspense, Phantom Stranger. The Dark Goddess of Doom. We are in trouble. Everything's happy here in Bedrock, but elsewhere things are pretty scary. And we got Kali, the Bringer of Death. Yeah, it's frustrating to me that there aren't credits on the art here. And it could be that some of this is reprints, particularly when they went to the larger size. Often they didn't have enough original material to fill. When the publisher suddenly decided, hey, we're going to do almost twice the length comics. We got Ghosts, number 21. So that was Ghost number 3. Now we're jumping ahead a few years. It's probably, what would it be, 1974 or something. These natives are pretty freaked out by what this white kid's doing. That art style looks familiar. It's on the tip of my tongue who this artist probably is. But anyway, not credited. The Shroud of Death. Come on, people, where are credits on these books? None of this has credited artwork. I wonder when there's art by Alfredo Alcala. That's always like, bingo, got more Alfredo Alcala. One of my all-time favorites. Beautiful stuff. He's particularly good at people with not wearing a lot of clothes. That's my thing. But Marcus, you can put some clothes on. Okay, very cool. I am so happy to have found some Alfredo Alcala in there. So that's Ghosts, but then Secrets of the Haunted House, not the Haunted House. A Second Chance to Die. You have died in the car wreck, human. Now you shall be mine. That's cool looking artwork. Romeo Tengal. Interesting, interesting. Know him mostly as an inker later on. Was Romeo Tangal another one of the Filipino artists? I'm not sure. Or maybe a Spanish artist. Classic Twinkies. Makes me want to eat a Twinkie. Mike Nasser and Vince Coletta art. I always think of Mike Nasser as the artist who tried his best to look like Neal Adams, which perhaps wasn't great in the long run for his career. Although I think he ended up working at Neal Adams' studio. Rubini. I always wonder if Rubini is also another, like if he changed his name at some other point. Okay. Ooh, someone's signature. Oh, it's just O.J. Simpson's signature. Hey, you can't get those anymore. Or at least no one, I don't know if so many people ask for them anymore. And this one is, I believe, so a Marvel premiere featuring Doctor Strange. I think it's the second issue that Barry Windsor Smith drew. I don't know if that's a Barry Windsor Smith cover. It could be, but inked maybe by someone like Tom Palmer. Inside we got Barry Windsor Smith and Frank Brunner working together. That is very interesting. Is this before or after Frank Brunner had his famous run? Archie Goodwin's the writer. In the previous issue with Barry Windsor Smith, Stan Lee was the writer, although I think that the plotter was actually Barry Smith, but they don't give him credit. This looks really good. I wonder if it's Barry Smith all the way through or if they switch over to Frank Brunner. I'm trying to see if it looks... It's still... I think it's Barry Smith inked by Frank Brunner, judging by the way it looks. And so it has kind of a mix of the two. I'm not 100% sure. That looks like a Barry Smith face to me there. Yeah. So, I don't know. Was this done during the time when he took a break from Conan and then came back? Or I don't know when this, the timeline of all of this is. But it's not the Barry Smith that was trying to be like Jack Kirby at this point. Next, The Lurker in the Labyrinth. It's very scary. Very scary. I apologize if I've upset anyone. More scary Marvel, Tomb of Darkness. This might be reprints. Number 23, 30-cent era. That's kind of uncool. It's the first 25-cent era with the 48 pages, that's really cool. Or the 15-cent era. 20-cent era, so-so. Then 25 cent, but that 30 cents, that by then I thought it was really uncool. Like the old comics older than the 30-cent comics were so much better. This is all reprints anyway. Though we're talking about my 1975 perceptions of things. Spaceship in the Barn. It just sort of shows you pre-Kirby at Marvel how different the storytelling was, in a way, the visual storytelling. At least it tells me that. Like, these artists are very good, but they don't have that dynamism that came to Marvel afterwards. Even artists whose work doesn't really look like Kirby at all, I think there was something more dynamic just in the way the pages were laid out. Chamber of Chills. I'm guessing that this has some original and some reprint work. Roy Thomas and Frank Brunner. Like, Frank Brunner does not have a Jack Kirby style, but and obviously other people had an influence on the dynamism too, like Steranko and Neal Adams. But there's definitely that version of Marvel, or Timely, or whatever it was, before and after Kirby. And there's just an expectation of excitement. Don Heck, who probably worked in both eras. This is some really nice looking Don Heck. Sometimes Yeah, sometimes Don Heck is stiff as hell, but this is really, really good. Ernie Chua, a.k.a. Ernie Chan. Also, that now Ernie Chua, Ernie Chan, there's an artist whose art style changed radically over time. If you look at his later work in the later Savage Sword of Conan, it's unrecognizable to stuff like this, or to even his earlier Conan work. Okay, I think I got another Chamber of Chills. So I think that one was all original. So nice score there. Rise, demon, rise and slay. Here at the lodge, I don't know. That demon would be a little more friendly. Larry Lieber writer, J. Scott Pike artist. Never heard of him. But I don't think this is a reprint. We're in 1973, 20 cents in 73, so things were a little less cool than the 15-cent era, but still okay. Let's see. What else can I find? Paul Reinman, who I mostly know from his work on the X-Men, Tony Isabella. Reinman seemed to disappear to me other than his work. And this, you can tell right away, this is from much earlier. And so it's a reprint. Yeah, so this is the mix of reprints and new stuff that I was expecting. Tomb by Any Other Name. Script by Don McGregor, art by Sid Shores. So Sid Shores is more of an old school artist, especially, but he's trying to do the more dynamic layouts. And Don McGregor probably at the beginning of his career here. Not the super wordy Don McGregor we later get used to. Did they have coffee back in the Stone Age? I have to rewatch the Flintstones to see. Okay, Where Monsters Dwell. I don't remember why I ordered. Oh, I know why I ordered this. So I was on mycomicshop.com searching for those 25 centers from the first time they did 25 cents when it was big, thicker, fatter issues, because my very first comic was one of those 25 cent 48 pagers, and I got into my head, well, maybe I'll get all the Marvel 48 pagers. Maybe I'll get all the DC ones. There's a lot more DC ones because they stuck with it longer. I love this cover. And this was also the era where they started the picture frame, as we call it, which I love. A lot of people thought it was not a good use of space, but it just, I don't know, it gives the covers a little extra solidity or something. And it's great when they actually break the frame, too. It's really cool. I wonder if someone like Jared Osborne had to, like, trim that out to make that work, since it was all physical back then. Orogo, The Thing from Beyond. That's just a beautiful Jack Kirby image. So, yeah, so we just get a lot of... Something dinged on my computer. We just get a lot of reprints here. Steve Ditko, I think. So it's probably all going to be Kirby Ditko. Maybe not. That may be neither of them. I'm not sure who that is. I wonder when, like, what really went through Stan Lee's head when he first started giving more credit. Like, Steve Ditko just scribbled his name in there very small, hoping no one will notice he'd slipped it in there. When Stan Lee decided it was a good idea to give the artists and the letterers and eventually the colorists credit. This is Paul Reinman. Nice. But you can see the less dynamic layouts, I think. Not too bad, though. Quogue. So this has more Steve Ditko in it than Jack Kirby. And, you know, there's times when I think that Steve Ditko's monster work was even better than his Spider-Man work. That's probably sacrilegious to say. Okay, who's this artist? Somehow that looks familiar. Oh, it's Don Heck. Don Heck. But being a bit... I don't know. Is it a bit like Alex Toth here? I don't know. Very cool. So yeah, that might be my quest now, is to get all of these, I don't know what you call it, the big 25 centers, as opposed to when they went up to 25 cent for a normal size comic later. This cover is beautiful. I love this cover. I'm not sure who it's by. That looks Neal Adams-ish to me there. I love that cover. The Witching Hour. I only have a few copies of The Witching Hour. I don't know how long that one went on for. I love these three witches, different aged witches here in the picture. I wonder if this is her there, because that is that witch there. Anyway, I need to learn more about Witching Hour. Okay. I feel like I know who that artist is, but I can't quite pin it down. Looks really good. The coloring is really interesting here too. The uncredited colorists sometimes surprise you with what they manage to do with the 64 colors or 48 colors that they had to work with. Nice. Oh, he looks like some celebrity there. Man, I've got to find out who that artist was. Still with the text stories, I was talking with someone about, why did the old comics have text pieces in them? And most people probably know, but it was when back when there were certain rules that you could be considered reading material, print material, and the postal system gave you a discount on postage, what we now call media mail, but it wasn't called that back then. But anyway, they gave the publishers a big discount, but they had to be a periodical, and so that was one aspect of you got a discount on books, but if you were a periodical, but you had to be in print for a certain number of issues, which is why they didn't like starting with number one. They would just change the title of something so that it would continue to get the cheap postage. But also it had to have a certain number of pages of text to be considered a proper periodical. If it was just comics, that didn't count. The sun is sunning on me right now. Who is that artist? Is that Dan Spiegel? That looks Dan Spiegel-ish to me, I think. Or is it Toth? I'm not good at recognizing Toth, but when things are kind of simple, I start to wonder. And I know Dan Spiegel sometimes was kind of imitating Toth. Oh, Alex Toth. That is Alex Toth. Okay. I'm a barbarian, and I have yet to come to fully appreciate Alex Toth, the artist that artists worship more than any other artist when they're artisting. Look into the ghastly visage of Yama Raja, King of the Dead. Okay, so some Alex Toth goodness. For a superstar of comics, Alex Toth was pretty hidden away. We're getting near the end of my pile. Sorry for that. I always go on much longer than I should. We got Black Magic. It says a new Simon Kirby special. I think new meaning it's a number one, because I think everything in here is actually reprints. But during an era where Kirby had this really cool style, kind of a transition before he got into his super blocky style, but there was something, it was getting a little blockier, a little less elongated, and there was something interesting in the way it was inked, although or just, the quality of the lines here. And that might have been Joe Simon's inking, I don't know. But I do like that kind of line quality there. So I assume these are from old horror comics that Simon and Kirby did for. There's the guy from the cover image. Now the dynamics isn't as dynamically drawn as later Kirby. I just really like, I guess those are paintbrush lines done with a paintbrush or, a ink brush. Ew. Okay. 2 more to go. 3 more? 3 more to go. 1 more Black Magic. I assume it's all reprints though. They don't mention Simon and Kirby on the cover. This is Black Magic number 8. I feel I should be able to recognize that cover artist, and I can't. Is it Jerry Grenadetti? Maybe? I don't know. When You Were Alive. Another clue to when something's a reprint is the page ratio was different back then. So a lot of DC Comics, they'll put a title up here to make, because they had to actually shrink the page to make it fit in the smaller page, but the ratio was wrong. So all of these come from some era when the comics were much bigger. I don't know. I can't. That looks like old Kirby to me. Yeah, there's that interesting inking style again. Okay. And so there's a lot I need to learn about all these anthology horror books, especially the DC ones. Unexpected. Really like that cover. Look at our new patient's brain. He's a potential killer. Wow, he's got some arm issues too. Ernie Chua, story by Carl Wessler. Story by George Cashton. Signed by Joe LaFamia. So that looks like the Rubini art to me. Okay. Well, there's that. Unexpected. Number 182. I don't know anything about this comic. Unexpected. They had 182 issues. Or is this one that was retitled from something else? And they kept the numbering. Okay, my last, and I don't know if it's least or foremost, Forbidden Tales of Dark Mansion. Wasn't there other ones that had Dark Mansion of Love or something? I love that lettering on the cover. That's lettering that's proud to be lettering there. I guess she is our host. Kind of sexy. Jack Olak, Jess Ramos. Some of the people in these mystery magazines went on to be superstars. Others, not so much. You get forgotten. No credit on this art. Jack Olak, Alfredo Alcala. I get to end with some Alfredo Alcala. I'm very happy. Yeah, look at that. Again, he likes to draw the people without the clothes on. Well, he does a good job on the clothing too. We all need to get some, are those jodhpurs, some pants like that. That should make a comeback. This is the very heavy, inky Alfredo Alcala. I like it. Although black and white is well suited for it. Oh, I think I gave away the ending of that one. Okay, have a happy Halloween, or maybe you've already had a happy Halloween and are seeing this episode late. The sun is playing games with me. I've had a great time. I love hunting for comics. I want to read all these comics, but I want to keep buying more just because it's so much fun to go to the various shops and dig through the boxes and find this hidden treasures. Cheers, my friend. Take care. My friends, take care, and I will talk to you again soon.